Hey, I'm Tink.
Hey, I'm Stu.
And this week we ReBrew.
All right, guys. So this week, our podcast, we have a sponsor. Holy hell, I never thought that was going to happen.
Finally some income.
Finally, right? So this week we want to thank At Ease Bath Products. With At Ease Bath Products, you get essential luxury soaps, shower sprays, bath salts, and more, all made with all natural ingredients and essential oils. And as always, they are free to smell. This operation is owned and operated out of Canyon Lake, Texas, but they're happy to ship all over the U.S. and to APOs as well. Contact them at ateasebathproducts@gmail.com or just like their Facebook page and ask any questions to that.
Sounds good to me. I'm going to do that because anything that's not stamps.com, I'm all over it as far as podcast sponsorships.
Absolutely. I'm just happy I'm not going to smell like a wildebeest anymore.
Well, that is true. I was going to tell you.
Yeah, I know. That's why we're doing this through 3 panes of glass. We have a really sensitive microphone. So, yeah, man, Mortal Kombat. I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this one for a little while now.
This is pretty exciting. You're more of an expert than I am.
I wouldn't call myself an expert. I'd say I'm an enthusiast.
Yes.
I don't like using that word, but I think as a hobby, it's a hobby.
Right.
Something I enjoy.
You have two camps of people. You have the Street Fighter people.
Yep.
And you have Mortal Kombat people.
I really think I prefer Mortal Kombat overall for both the games and the movie.
Yeah.
Because that movie. Although, I mean, to be fair, Street Fighter had Raul Julia, who that man.
He suffered through stomach cancer to get that movie out.
And it was a piece of shit, but he was the best part of it.
He was really great.
At no point has Raul Julia ever phoned it in the history of his career.
Never. I mean, please, God, at some point let's do some podcasts about Addams Family.
I have no doubt. We could just do a Raul Julia podcast.
That'd be great. He did a really strange reinterpretation of Frankenstein.
Really?
Movie. Yeah, you need to watch it.
Wow.
It's
all right, so we're already making this about Raul Julia.
I love it.
Mortal Kombat. First video game came out in 1992. Mm-hmm. That game is the primary reason today that we have ESRB ratings.
Yeah, that is true.
That it is the Slayer and the Ozzy Osbourne of the video game genre.
Hillary Clinton hated it.
Hillary Clinton did hate it.
Yeah. Joe Lieberman. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's something about the whole that administration, because you had Tipper Gore going against the fighting off the music, and then Hillary fighting off the video games.
Yeah, I think it was like a scapegoat.
Yeah, they just hated fun.
Yeah, that's what it is. So yeah, I have a strange. Well, not strange. It's probably pretty commonplace. My first, reaction to Mortal Kombat was, this is terrible. It's a Super Nintendo game. There's no blood. There's no real you know what I mean? Like, it was marketed to me, and I was, 1992. I was 8 years old. I was thinking this is some hardcore, bloody mess, violent, cool thing that I shouldn't be playing, but I really, really, really want to. And I played it on the Super Nintendo, and it had none of that because they censored all the good parts out.
Super Nintendo had sweat. Sega Genesis also came programmed with sweat, but if you knew the code, you got blood.
Is that true?
There was a within the Genesis there was a blood code, but it was only the Genesis.
I thought that was that the Genesis came with the blood.
Nope.
Okay, so you had to know the code.
Had to know the code. It was the same.
Gotcha.
It was sweat. Now, for some reason, they didn't care that the robots bled oil. You could beat a robot to death and see all the oil you wanted to, but God forbid there be a little bit of blood on screen.
Well, robots don't have souls, so
that honestly, Smoke did, but that's getting a little too deep into the lore.
Smoke had a soul.
Smoke had a soul. That was in the realm. Okay, so Mortal Kombat 1 happens. Mortal Kombat 1 is Mortal Kombat itself is there are these different realms. There's Earth Realm, which is literally just this universe and Earth as we know it, and then there's Outer Realm. Outer Realm wants to invade Earth Realm, but Outer Realm has had thousands and thousands and eons of years to amass a great army, whereas Earth is considered very young.
Sure.
And Raiden, the protector of Earth Realm, knows that any outside force is just gonna fuck Earth. So he goes and he appeals to the higher gods, who rule over, who remain nameless. I kind of like that, or at least in my knowledge, they remain pretty nameless. watch me get fucking lambasted on the internet for you don't know the names of the higher gods.
That's okay.
Nerds.
But I'm about to ask you questions after this, so
that's not a problem. Hope you're taking notes at home. So he goes and appeals to the higher gods. He's like, look, let us have a chance. So the higher gods create Mortal Kombat.
Gotcha.
And the idea is that once a generation, the best fighters from Earthrealm and the best fighters from Outer Realm are going to come together for a combat tournament to the death.
So there are only 2 realms.
There's more than 2, but these are the 2 that they're primarily concerned with.
2
because
that matter.
Outer Realm has gone and just taken over so many other realms.
Okay.
There's Edonia, which is where Katana and Rain is from.
This is very impressive that you know all of this.
Oh man, I've been studying up this week.
Okay.
I didn't know most of this before I came in. And Sindel also.
I love that
Katana's
song.
mother.
I love that song, Knights of Edonia. Am I right?
I'd like
You
to.
don't- you don't
I
have to
think
laugh
if
at that.
I think if a band was gonna make a Mortal Kombat pop song,
That's the first one that could come to
Muse
mind.
would definitely
Yeah.
be the one to do it. I kind of, if they do it now, I'm taking credit for it.
Muse sounds like a Mortal Kombat name.
Honestly,
like a character
it does.
name.
Yeah, it really does. So the idea behind Mortal Kombat is once a generation, the greatest fighters from these 2 realms come together, and if Outer Realm can get 10 consecutive wins,
Yes.
they earn the right to invade Earthrealm.
I know this. I know this somehow. Earth has lost 9 times.
Earth has lost 9 times.
Okay.
So all hope rests at this Mortal Kombat.
All right.
And Shang Tsung is the big bad boss in this one. He is the primary, he's the head sorcerer underneath Shao Kahn.
Gotcha.
And Shao Kahn is the Emperor of Outer Realm.
Right.
Makes no appearance except for on a chair, I think, during the first game.
Okay.
And that's and there's Goro, who's considered their champion. Once Liu Kang beats Goro, Shang Tsung is like, fuck that, I'm coming in. We're gonna make this happen. And then he beats Shang Tsung.
So all this takes place in Outer Realm. Then.
Yeah, pretty much. It kind of takes place in a weird limbo state. They don't really. It takes place both places. There's stages in both areas.
Gotcha.
So, but I think Outer Realm is considered the place where it happens.
Okay.
Jump ahead to Mortal Kombat 2.
Wait. Hang on.
Yeah.
Let's back up.
Yep, back it up.
1 second.
What do you got?
Can we go over the roster of the first Mortal Kombat game?
Absolutely. So you have. You're looking at it right now, right?
I am.
I'm gonna try and name as many of these guys off the top of my head as I can.
You have 7 chances to get.
I do have. So Scorpion,
Yes.
Liu Kang,
Yes.
Sonya Blade,
Yes.
Johnny Cage,
Okay.
Kano,
Uh-huh.
Sub-Zero.
All right. That's it. Wait.
That was 6. Raiden.
Yeah, Raiden. Yeah. Yes.
Nice.
Raiden.
God.
Like, okay, so.
And people wonder why I never got laid in high school.
Well, hey, hang on a second. I'm gonna name to you after this the Mortal Kombat 2 roster, and then we'll get into it. Yeah. Okay. So, Johnny Cage was the Hollywood martial arts guy. Raiden is a god. Shouldn't be allowed
the
to
Earthrealm
to
protector.
participate, but he is for some reason.
Well, he only maintains his immortality in Earthrealm.
Okay.
He doesn't lose all of his power, but he's severely debilitated if he leaves Earthrealm.
And
So
he
when
can
he's
be killed.
yeah, so when he goes into Outer World,
He's mortal.
he's mortal. The mortal in Mortal Kombat brings it in.
Okay. And then Kano is a criminal.
Kano is a criminal.
Everybody knows all this. Sonya hates him.
She is part
this
of
is
us.
all the movie talk.
No, this is within the realm of the.
So this is-
Yeah, they did a very, very good job. So, whereas in Street Fighter, they kind of crafted a story around the game to turn into a movie. They crafted the story from the game for Mortal Kombat. They actually did a really good job of it for the most part.
I remember, I haven't seen it in years. I would really enjoy that movie. We can talk about that later. We
Yeah.
can just have a sidebar with
Yeah.
movie talk. Liu Kang, I assume the first game, he's the chosen one.
He's the chosen one of a sort. It's weird. There's 2 Kung Laos. So the last Kung Lao is the last champion. He's the last guy to have defeated Outer Realm.
Okay.
And that was 9 fights ago.
Gotcha.
So Liu Kang is a direct descendant of Kung Lao.
But they still lost overall.
They won that one.
Oh, so it was like 1 win,
1 victory,
9
9
losses.
losses.
Okay. So what happened to that guy?
He got killed. He got killed somehow after the fight. I can't remember exactly how it happened, but he got killed after Mortal Kombat. And then there is another direct descendant of Kung Lao called Kung Lao, who is cousins with Liu Kang.
Cousins. Cousins.
Absolutely.
That's what makes it
Yeah.
sound real. Is there's cousins. That's my 4th cousin, Liu Kang.
Yeah.
And then let's see, who else is there? We covered Sonya, Johnny Cage. Raiden. Oh yeah, we have the two ninjas.
We do. Two ninjas who are diametrically opposed and who are literally the same person, palette swapped.
Yep, that happens a lot. In
His
Mortal
memory.
Kombat.
But yeah, you got Sub-Zero, who is a member of the Lin Kuei Ninja Clan, who there's a game that takes place before Mortal Kombat. And that is
A game?
There's a game that takes place before Mortal Kombat. Okay. It was released in the late 90s called Sub-Zero Mythologies. Or Mortal Kombat Mythologies.
I
Sub-Zero.
played that. That was like side-scrolling fighting game.
Yes.
Okay.
That takes place prior to the first Mortal Kombat competition.
So Sub-Zero has to like Battletoads his way through all this.
Yes.
To get to Mortal Kombat.
Exactly.
He deserved to win after all that.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't.
Okay. No.
That introduces a lot of characters who become part of the mythology of Mortal Kombat and the lore afterwards. So like Quan Chi's introduced there. The idea of the Lin Kuei being a little bit shadier than Sub-Zero understands comes into that too. So Sub-Zero himself is kind of this evil, not too great dude. But that also sets up the rivalry between Sub-Zero and Scorpion, because that game acts as their first real meeting.
Okay. So this makes so all the future stuff that I know about Sub-Zero and Scorpion hasn't happened. I mean, it doesn't really matter.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just
No, that's okay.
I get confused with the history.
It's easily confused because there is a lot and it all got retconned.
Yeah, they retconned like twice.
it's which, to be fair, looking at like Mortal Kombat through Mortal Kombat 3, awesome, got it. Everything after Mortal Kombat 3, from like Mortal Kombat 4 to Mortal Kombat technically 8, which was like Deadly Alliance or something like that. All that was terrible and ultra confusing, and I didn't like it. Jump ahead to Mortal Kombat 9, that's where the retcon happened.
Okay, and then we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
They did it kind of again as well, right?
Mortal Kombat 10 X.
No, yeah.
No, that Mortal Kombat X is a direct link to Mortal Kombat 9.
Okay, let's get to that later.
Yeah.
I'm already confused. Let's okay.
There's a nosebleed happening.
I'm gonna go
Fatality.
Back to, you just like die from gradual nosebleed. Takes a couple of years. I told you, my initial like playthrough of Mortal Kombat was on this. Yes.
Yeah.
Terrible because all the good stuff was taken out. Our local Walmart, we had a Mortal Kombat arcade machine that was installed, and every time I would walk into Walmart, which is a terrible sentence, it's just
welcome to Alabama.
Yeah. I would walk in there and I would like see this like, glowing orb of awesome stuff that I've always wanted to experience.
Yeah.
It's like I can see blood, I can see better graphics. You can't really call them graphics if it's just like
sprites.
Yeah, like sprites of photos of people turned into sprites. But yeah, like they had like the Sub-Zero spine rip fatality, which by the way is my favorite fatality
I love
ever.
It.
Because how does he do that? How does he tear the spine off of all the ribs and everything?
Ice magic.
So clean. It was kind of like a forbidden fruit type deal.
I can understand with that. There was a Super Nintendo set up in the movie gallery.
Oh, good.
I'm gonna date myself here.
Yes.
So there were 2 video game systems set up in the movie gallery near where I grew up, and I used to go. If I was good through the week, my parents would let me go rent a game. So I'd go in and I'd spend like an hour and a half. They'd look at the movies and I'd be like, oh, Mortal Kombat. So there was, I remember Sonic the Hedgehog pinball, and there was Mortal Kombat, I think it was 2 or 3 that was set up in one of the SNESs.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first. I knew of it, like I'd seen it. I'd never owned it or anything like that. None of my friends owned it. We were all too young, and our parents were like, "No, you can't have that. Little too much for you right now." But I remember playing it, and I lost. And the computer did a stage fatality to me, because there's the stage where there's the spikes in the ceiling,
Yes.
and it just uppercuts me into it, and I'm hanging there, and blood's just dripping out of me, and my dad looks at me, he's like, nope, and carries me away, he's like, you're not, give it 5 years.
See, I can tell you though from that stage fatality, that was Mortal Kombat 2.
Yes.
That's the one I played more than anything. So now we can move on to that game.
Absolutely.
That was very formative for me.
Mortal Kombat 2 was really awesome.
Yes.
I can tell you the lore behind this one.
Okay.
Is right after we win that particular Mortal Kombat, the counter resets. So now Outer Realm, has to win 10 more consecutive Mortal Kombats before they're allowed to invade Earthrealm.
Okay. I just wanted to ask really quick. Why 10 and who's like darn, we didn't get 10 this time. We have to wait again.
Well, it's the outer gods. It's the laws that the outer gods, the higher gods have laid out state that it has to be 10.
Okay.
And if there's any funny business, they actually just destroy. And when I say destroy, I mean they cast into a lake of hellfire and remove any existence of the perpetrator of the crime.
Ah, okay.
So
but this is like, okay, if you cheat and your team wins the 10th one, you die, but does the ruling still stand?
No, the merger. The idea is that there has to be a merger.
Uh-huh.
So if one invades another, minor skirmishes here and there, that's not technically against the rules, but the two realms can't merge. So when I say that the realms are merging, I mean like it's a literal merger, and that's jumping ahead to Mortal Kombat 3 a little bit. But you see, like, there's the levels of Mortal Kombat 3 where you have this big gaping hole in the sky, and everything's like cracking and pushing together.
Yeah.
That's a merger, and that actually technically makes one realm a part of the other realm.
So this whole series is just a huge metaphor for corporate cutthroat America, and like,
I don't think when John Tobias and Ed Boon were making it, that's quite as far as they were going.
Yeah.
But I can see where you're going with it.
Right. It gets very bloody.
Absolutely.
Jobs are lost, lives are lost.
Lot of literal headhunting.
Exactly. This sounds, I think we should explore this more. We could write some papers, probably get published.
Ayn Rand performs Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
If there was going to be a novelization of Mortal Kombat, I'd probably rather kill myself than listen to Ayn Rand. I'd rather be in Mortal Kombat than have to read Ayn Rand's novelization.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. And see, we probably just lost 2 or 3 listeners. That's okay.
We didn't want them.
Yeah, we didn't want them. Hey,
If that's
what? I kind of like the direction this podcast is going. If that's what's gonna happen. Trolling our fans. Anyway, Mortal Kombat 2.
Absolutely.
Let me. I don't know if you have a list here, or if you just know. I'm gonna try to name off to you my recollection of Mortal Kombat 2 characters, playable characters.
All right.
You have Shang Tsung finally playable, correct? I believe that's the case. 'Cause you can shoot the, head. I believe
skulls.
So.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Actually, flaming skulls. We'll go with the easy ones too. I'll go Liu Kang's playable.
Absolutely.
Sub-Zero.
Yes.
Is back. Scorpion is back.
Yes.
Of course. Reptile. Another palette swap.
Yes.
He is playable.
Yes.
I can't remember if Jade's playable or if you just fight against her. I think you just fight against Jade.
She was in 3.
Okay. So Jade is a palette swap of the two ladies who joined, Katana and Melina.
Correct.
And Katana is a princess of some sort.
She was the princess of Edenia.
A princess of Edenia.
Right.
Okay, so they're mixing. This sounds very fantastic at this point.
Oh, it's highly fantastical.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
I kind of like the modern day, fantasy aspect of it mixed in with just bloody mess. It's almost like a George R. R. Martin type deal. Johnny Cage is back.
Yep.
I can't remember. I think Sonya's gone, and Jax takes her place.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yep.
Jax is her partner.
Right.
In some kind of capacity. I believe Kano's gone.
You're right.
And I think Sonya and Kano are both gone because they are the least picked playable characters in the first game. So.
That was a reason, but that within the realm of the story, they were kidnapped.
Oh, gotcha.
So they, the idea was that there wasn't enough memory. They wanted to introduce all these new characters, but they didn't have enough memory to get everybody they wanted. So they picked the 2 characters that were least played, which were Sonya and Kano, and they said that they were captured. So the idea was that Kano had run into Outer Realm, and Sonya had chased him in there. And
it's like picturing they're like running down an alley and it turns into Outer Realm. Well, oh no, this is the bad part of Detroit or something.
There's actually a stage where Shao Kahn is sitting. You got a bunch of monks sitting in a stadium. Shao Kahn sitting on his throne, and then you've got Kano chained up at one end of the stage and Sonya chained up at the other.
Ah, so that makes it all better.
Yep.
Because honestly, I love Sonya and Kano as like, I guess, concepts, but I never use them. Yeah, whatever. Then we mentioned Sub-Zero.
Right.
This is not the same Sub-Zero as the
This
first
is
game.
the same Sub-Zero.
Oh, okay,
this
you're right.
This is the same one.
3 is the
3 is when the new one comes
We'll get to
in.
that later.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, this is the same.
You're missing 2. I will say you're missing 2
We're
fighters.
Missing Raiden.
Right. That's one.
He's in there, and my favorite is friggin' Baraka.
There you go. You got them all. That's good stuff.
I don't know, man. There's something about Baraka. I think it's his dumb dumb face. I just love it. And he has his like Wolverine claws, all kinds of cool stuff. He has sharp, jagged teeth. He is not the same race as Melina, correct?
Melina is a mix.
Okay.
She is a direct clone of Katana.
That was messed up.
That was mixed in with the fighting spirit of Baraka's people. So they actually they did a little outer realm eugenics.
Like, hey, let's give her the fighting teeth too.
Yeah, and she's got that gnarly gnarly mouth of hers.
She had one of my favorite fatalities, which was what she like sucks you in,
the man-eater,
you, and then she spits out your bones.
I always call it the man-eater. Yeah, that's I find the man-eater to be probably responsible for about 98% nerd bulimia cases.
Jeez. That's the comedian in Stu coming out right now. We really haven't talked about what made Mortal Kombat stand out. Okay, at the same time, like Street Fighter 2 was huge,
correct?
Right? In the early 90s, people were going crazy over this hardcore fighting game.
Yep.
Like they had 80,000 versions of Street Fighter. I'd love to do an episode on that at some point.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and Mortal Kombat was sort of like the antithesis of Street Fighter 2. That was like dark and gritty, and it wasn't super complicated. You had high punch, low punch, high kick, low kick, and a block button.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yep.
The selling point to Mortal Kombat was the fatalities.
Yeah.
And that means you perform a certain like sequence of button presses after every match that you win. It'll say the guy's voice will say finish him. You can toss that in there at some point. and from there you put your button presses in, and your character will murder the other character in some horrible way, which only got worse over the years. Like initially it was just, you burned him alive and now he's just bones, or you pulled his head and spine out.
Yep.
It's pretty brutal now, but that was a pretty big selling point. It was like almost like X-rated stuff at the time.
And that was pushing towards a different audience, because Street Fighter was very much anybody can come and play it.
Yeah, it's colorful too.
Yeah, it's very colorful, really good animations and everything like that. Beautiful game.
Probably a better game than Mortal Kombat.
I still prefer Mortal Kombat.
Oh, no.
Absolutely.
That's totally fine. Like, I prefer, I think, for the most part, the characters and the setting of Mortal Kombat. But if I'm like playing something and I like want to, show off, I'm gonna do Street Fighter.
And that Street Fighter, I feel Street Fighter takes a definite. There's a much higher level of skill within Street Fighter, because I like Mortal Kombat because I am, when it comes to fighting games and especially racing games, I'm absolutely very casual with it.
Sure.
It's never something I've been like, I have to play it.
Yeah.
Like I play Mortal Kombat for the story, which I feel like to me is reading Playboy for the articles.
Yeah, that's pretty spot on. Sure.
And so I definitely, every time I've ever put in Street Fighter, I just get my ass handed to me within 10 minutes. I'm just like, I have no desire to play this game. I don't find it fun because I'm losing.
Yeah, it's really hard, especially when you're playing against a skilled person.
Oh my god, that's the worst.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like in both games, you can still, if you're like a button masher, you still stand a decent chance against somebody like us. You could destroy us if you're just a button masher, because we're like thinking about it too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of the same deal.
I like it.
I actually remember some of the codes in Mortal Kombat 2. Well, one in particular, people would get very angry if I used it. It was you at the character select screen.
Mm-hmm.
You're like the icon is on. Liu Kang is the first character.
Right.
Right from there, you press down, up, right, up, left, select, and then you are almost impossible to kill. And so I will play the whole game, just cheat the system. And you get to the end. The first game you had to fight was in the Goro.
Yeah.
It was like a 4-armed monster guy.
Correct.
I'm sure you know his race and all this stuff.
I can't remember the name of the race. He is half dragon.
Okay.
I know that's what the big thing is for them, is they're half dragon.
Half dragon. You fight him, then you fight Shang Tsung, and you win. And this one you fight Kintaro, who is Goro with tiger stripes for some reason. I guess I thought much of Mortal Kombat is Ed Boon being, what would be cool is if I did this to this. He just added tiger stripes to Goro, and there's a 4-armed Goro tiger monster. and then you fight Shao Kahn.
Shao Kahn, who was a fucking rough fight.
Yeah, pretty much. He would just hit you with his hammer axe.
Yeah. The thing about Mortal Kombat 1 is you'd fight Goro, who was tough, and then you get to Shang Tsung, who was not nearly as tough as Goro. Like, there was still a challenge to it,
yeah,
but not nearly as hard as Goro.
Yeah.
This, you fight Kintaro, who is by no means an easy fight, and then the game just goes, fuck you, here's Shao Kahn.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah. they had to, I mean, honestly, both of these games were firstly made, like for quarters at arcades.
Yeah.
So they just wanted you to keep pumping quarters into the game to beat these two guys. If you beat Shao Kahn, what happened? Because I would use that cheat.
Yeah.
And I would use Sub-Zero to just freeze him, uppercut, freeze him, uppercut. That's all that I would do.
He explodes.
He explodes.
Which was always kind of crazy to me. He just starts flashing white and it just flashes like that. It strobes for like 30 seconds and it just boom, 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 boom.
And so that's canon. Is that was an airplane, by the way?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So it's canon that you beat Shao Kahn in this tournament.
Yes.
Okay. And so from this point, you beat Shao Kahn. Mortal Kombat 3 happens.
Correct.
Correct? Okay.
So the idea is, with Mortal Kombat 2, this is the story, is Mortal Kombat 2, after the first Mortal Kombat, Shang Tsung is like, I'm so sorry I lost, blah, blah, blah. Please
so
don't
sorry.
kill me. He's begging for his life.
Right.
So Shao Kahn grants him his life, and if he can somehow atone for what he did. So he comes up with an idea. Shang Tsung says, let's have another tournament, but we'll hold it here in Outer Realm, and it'll just be our tournament. It's not a technical Mortal Kombat tournament, but they won't know that it's not a technical Mortal Kombat tournament.
For fun Mortal Kombat tournament.
Exactly. So through kidnapping Sonya Blade, Kano comes in and they kidnap him, and Sonya's chasing him, so they kidnap her, and that's how they get a lot of the fighters back into Outer Realm. Is like, we're gonna kill her if you don't come in.
Yeah.
Like that's just we're gonna kill her. So they come back and they're like, all right, we'll fight you again. We'll make this happen. It'll be real. After Shao Kahn loses, he doesn't actually die. They're able to resurrect him or something like that. Something stupid. Nobody ever for a game called Mortal Kombat. There's not a lot of mortality involved. Everybody just comes back to life in one way or another.
This is like one of my big pet peeves about this kind of story.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, it happens all the time, but it's like, at one point, do you, as an out-realmer, ever think this is way too much work? This is not worth it.
Let's just stick with what we got.
Yeah, it's like what are you gonna do with Earth Realm that you're not already doing with Outer Realm?
Yeah.
There's nothing that great here. Yeah, we have friggin' Starbucks and stuff. Build your own Starbucks in Outrealm. Everything will be alright.
You build your own Scorpion Bucks over there.
It's Scorpion Bucks. It has to be based on your fighters. Gotcha.
Get over here. This isn't.
shoots
I
an arrow.
ordered 3 pumps in my latte.
He shoots his arrow through your your coffee. He just ruins it. It's okay. So that's the thing. I don't know. It's the story at this point is starting to grate on my nerves.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It gets
little.
and it explains the retcon later on.
Okay.
It honestly just makes it that much easier to be
Yeah.
like, oh, we totally retconned it.
Yeah.
So now we're at Mortal Kombat 3, right?
Yes, and this is I played a lot of this. I was kind of turned off by the combos and all this stuff.
Yeah.
You can there's a run button now.
Yep.
And I don't know. It just I was my brain was I can't handle this. Too many buttons. I'm gonna go play.
Mortal Kombat 3 became
Whatever,
more of a skill
Mortal Kombat
game
2.
because they introduced the combo system, which was fucking impossible. If somebody knew a combo, you were done. You were dead because there was no combo break. There was a combo system. There was a run button, which helped speed up the combat because they realized that if you were a defensive player, you were done. It helped to bring on an offensive.
You just hold block the whole time and you're better off.
Yeah. So it brought in an offensive speed boost that you could help bring in.
Was this also kind of an answer to, I guess, the Street Fighter 2 Turbo and Killer Instinct?
I can imagine. I
Instinct,
can imagine they
faster
saw
games.
that going on and they brought it in. Now, one thing they did is they went back and they refilmed all the sprites, which made it look because they had at this point I think we're at 96,
95.
95.
Mortal Kombat 3.
95 Mortal Kombat 3. So the movie was just coming out.
Okay.
And Mortal Kombat 3 was just coming out at the same time. So in the 3 or 4 years that they had, video game technology is leaps and bounds every year.
Yeah.
So they had a lot. That's why it looks a lot cleaner. There's a lot more levels, and there's also interactivity within the levels. Like if you're underground in one level, you can uppercut somebody, and you push them through the roof, and you're on the rooftop in a completely different level.
And they sort of had that in like 2, where you would like do like a fatality on a bridge, and it would fall down.
Yeah, into the pit of spikes.
Yeah, pit of spikes. But now you can like interact with a level within the level.
Within the level itself. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
That was always one of my favorite things to do. I had Mortal Kombat Trilogy, which is to this day my favorite Mortal Kombat game, because it combined all 3 games. You had all of the players, all of the characters, the characters that you could play as Goro, you could play as Kintaro, you could play as Motaro, who was the Goro or the Kintaro of Mortal Kombat 3.
Yes. He was like a horse man, right?
Horse bull robot, because he had a robotic tail.
Okay.
He had the body of a horse. He had this torso of a man, and he had the horns of a bull.
That's the thing that I remember a lot of Mortal Kombat 3 was they were like, what we're missing is robots. So they added Sector,
Cyrax, and Smoke.
Yeah, Smoke, who was you could fight him in Mortal Kombat 2. He was
one of the secret characters, but he was an NPC.
There was a guy's face. Do you know the guy's face?
Toasty. That was I don't know if that was Ed Boon or I think it was Ed Boon.
Okay. His face would pop up. He'd say Toasty. You hold up and press start.
Right.
And you fight Smoke, and it was this crazy thing.
Yeah.
It didn't do anything as far as I remember.
It was just a good challenge. It was one of those things, Reptile was the same way in the first game.
Okay.
Reptile was in the game, he was an NPC, but there was some random occurrence where you'd fight him.
Yeah.
And they wanted to do that to create a lore and to create an interest, and to be like, oh dude, I totally fought this dude who was green. And then everybody would be like, you're full of shit. Yeah.
That was most of the fun about these games was going to school and talking to other 3rd graders and being like, no, you can do a friendship or like a babality, and then you get into fights.
Do you remember? Did you ever hear about the nudality? Yeah.
No, I did not.
There was this idea that was, I don't know, maybe it was just my school, but there was this idea that there was a nudality. Totally not there, but there was the idea of a nudality.
So they would just get naked in front of them?
Apparently, I don't know what would happen, but apparently, somebody would just get naked. Which sounds to me like just a 3rd grader being like, oh, dude,
I wish this would happen.
You know how there was that one idea that was like, oh, dude, if you go to the truck in Pokemon Blue, you get a Mewtwo. It's fucking awesome. Totally unfounded, totally unreal.
Oh my God, please let's do a show about just crazy schoolyard rumors about video games.
I'm writing it down
because there are so many of those, and it was always the most insufferable kid in class who knew all this stuff.
Oh, I totally did it. My cousin works at Nintendo. He told me about it.
Yeah, they always work for Nintendo. So, this is Mortal Kombat 3. We have some new characters. Okay?
We do.
We have the Robot Ninjas. We have Nightwolf.
Nightwolf
is a Native American skinwalker type guy.
Yep. He's also a historian and a computer expert.
What the heck?
He went. I found out about it just looking into the background. He was a prime martial artist who used Eastern martial arts for some reason. He was a historian and he was a computer expert. He was busy on the reservation, man.
Yeah. He didn't want to give up his roots or anything.
He knew that he had all those scholarships, and he was like, fuck it, dude, I'm going for all of them.
He was the genius of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
He does everything. We had, what's her name? Sindel.
Sindel, who was Katana's mother, who was a revenant.
Yeah, she, by the way, in the second movie was played... Did you ever watch Buffy?
A little bit.
This is such a weird bit of trivia that nobody's going to care about. There was like a praying mantis lady on Buffy. The praying mantis lady teacher was Sindel.
Honestly, her spot, probably in one episode of Buffy, is probably better than her entire performance in the rest of that movie.
Okay, after Mortal Kombat 3 talk, please get into
Annihilation.
Because we really need to talk about
we do need to bring that up. But we've got plenty of time, so we can definitely.
We have.
This is gonna be a 5-hour podcast about Mortal Kombat.
That's okay. I think some people would listen to that.
I have no doubt.
Okay. Kung Lao. Who, if you're from Alabama, his name is Kung Leo.
Kung Leo.
Kung Leo. That's what everybody calls him.
Man, he's got that sharp hat. It's crazy.
Yeah, his damn sharp hat is good, man.
Kung Lao was cool.
Sharp hat.
Oh, fun fact about the guy who played Kung Lao in the game, I found out about. He played one of the turtles in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 and 3. He was one of the stunt guys inside of the turtle.
He didn't do any of the voices, though?
No, he wasn't doing any of the voices.
Okay.
He was just a guy inside the turtle.
Cool. The guy in the turtle.
In the turtle.
They should have a documentary called that. I would watch it.
I'd
the
watch
guy in
the
the
shit
turtle.
out of it. You kidding me?
Yeah. They get two views on Netflix. And then we had oh geez, what's the female Goro?
Shiva.
Shiva, yes. Is she the same race?
She's the same
Goro?
race. I don't know if there's any relation. I think the idea was Goro and Kintaro were supposedly brothers, or again cousins or something like that. There was some kind of relation there. I think.
I just like that it's cousins, because that just sounds so informal.
Yeah.
To me.
This is my cousin. He's third cousin twice removed. You know.
Yeah.
He's cousin by marriage. There was Shiva. I don't know if there was any like real relation with her. She was working for Shao Kahn.
Okay.
Goro, Shiva, and Kintaro's people had their own world at one point, but then Outer Realm invaded it. Just like Sindel and Kitana had at one point. Edenia had their own world.
So they lost 10 fights to them.
They didn't have to have. At that point, Mortal Kombat hadn't been established. Mortal Kombat wasn't established until Raiden took it to the higher gods. But at that point, Outer Realm could just willy-nilly invade anybody.
So they were like, hey, let's create this, friggin'
Some kind of checks and balances system.
Yeah, terrible list of laws and rules.
Yeah.
It's like asinine things
Yep.
that we can put in place. Okay, so Raiden, he deserves a lot of credit.
Raiden threw in some red tape bureaucracy to help curb the rising storm that was Outer World and Shao Kahn.
Why did they add Stryker, the cop, to this list of characters?
Okay, so the idea behind Mortal Kombat 3 is that there's no Mortal Kombat. Shao Kahn has sent Sindel into Earthrealm, and Sindel is his bride. So somehow, for some reason, since he revives her on Earthrealm, he's allowed to merge the worlds without a Mortal Kombat tournament taking place.
Okay.
So the idea is, during all of Mortal Kombat 3, Earthrealm is being invaded by Outer Realm, and they're starting to merge.
They're like trying their best to circumvent the rules.
Correct.
And get around all this stuff.
This is Shao Kahn being like, fuck this, we're just gonna invade. And Stryker is a riot control officer who happens to be on Earth at the time, and everybody in his city is killed except for him.
Okay.
So there's like billions of souls, and that's where Outer Realm gets its power, is through souls, consumption of souls. Billions of souls are instantly lost when Earth is invaded, except for those that are protected. And Raiden finds some of the best fighters and protects them in an effort to beat back Outer Realm.
Okay, so he chose Nightwolf the Genius.
Nightwolf the Genius.
He chose Stryker.
Well,
the cop.
Nightwolf's land was so spiritual and holy that all of it was protected. So Nightwolf's land in the U.S., somewhere like Montana or Minnesota or something, was actually a staging ground for all of Earth's fighters.
So this is the opposite of Pet Cemetery.
Yes.
Okay, so the ground is not sour.
Exactly.
In Nightwolf's land.
This ground is this is hallowed ground, which may not be fought upon.
Gotcha.
To borrow a little bit from Highlander.
See, I like how we reference everything.
Exactly.
People are the max amount of confused that they could possibly be.
Now I gotta fucking watch Highlander. God.
Okay, here's a question I've always had.
Okay.
Who is Cabal?
Cabal.
What does he do?
Cabal was one of the guys. He is an Earthrealmer. He was originally working for League of Shadows or whatever. I know that's Batman.
Yeah.
But
that's fine.
the Black Dragons, which are Kano's super bad bad guy squad.
Okay, so he's a Kano acolyte.
He was with Kano acolyte. He was a Kano acolyte. When Earthrealm got invaded, he got fucked up. So his face got all scarred up, and that's why he has the mask, and he has to have a breathing apparatus, which is on his back.
Okay.
In effort, he's kind of like Darth Vader in that aspect.
What's the point of the Dookie braids?
I have no idea.
Okay, he just wanted those for.
He just wanted the Dookie
looks.
braids. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's all I needed to know.
He got fucked up, and then when Earthrealm got invaded, and then he came back just from the dead. He was almost dead, and then somebody saved him. And then he was like, "Oh, well, fuck this! I'm gonna go fight off the Outer Realmers." And then he redeemed himself through trying to do that.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. I thought that he was just like some guy who was like super afraid of like a nuclear holocaust. So he just wore his,
he's just some prepper from like the middle of Oklahoma. Man, fun story about Cabal. One of my memories about Mortal Kombat 3 is playing it with my cousin on the Sega Genesis, and my cousin I think was 13 when I was like 8 or 9, and my cousin would just beat the piss out of me with Cabal to the point where I would like angry little kid crying mad. That was how I felt about Cabal. But I still thought he like, after seeing my ass get kicked by Cabal, I always thought he was the coolest character because of that.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like a 90s era hipster type guy.
Yeah, he was definitely of his time.
He's wearing a pair of corduroys.
Yes.
And knee pads for his, like skateboarding.
Yep. He's probably got a can of Mountain Dew somewhere in his backpack.
Oh my God, definitely.
And he just listened to the new Goo Goo Dolls album.
They can all be fans of the Goo Goo Dolls.
I was gonna say he's just sitting there humming Black Balloon to himself as he's inflating somebody's skull.
It was that time. It was like either Goo Goo Dolls or Two Princes and all right, so that's Mortal Kombat 3.
That's Mortal Kombat 3.
Then there was
a string of games that comes out after, and that's where my knowledge fails.
Let's talk about really quick these Mortal Kombat wannabes that popped up in the time between Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 4.
Absolutely. This was the era, like Mortal Kombat once, because Street Fighter was making a lot of money.
Yes.
Mortal Kombat was making a lot of money. People saw this, and before that point, I should mention, like, before Mortal Kombat came out, game developers were not sure of the profitability of a fighting game, because they'd had like Karate Master and shit like that come out on the Nintendo, and it was kind of poor reception. But that was because they were not good games.
They were terrible.
They were awful games. So when you have Street Fighter as your only competition on the market, and it's doing fairly well, for somebody else to come in and be like, I have a fighting game that is going to do awesome. Midway took a huge risk in making that work, and they definitely profited off of it.
I mean, like at that point, they were mostly sports games.
Yes.
Right. So
but that
NBA
was
Jam and
that was what the market wanted, and I mean, it's capitalism. You're going to provide what the people want at that point. So for them to go out on a limb, it's like, all right, Ed Boon, John Tobias, we like your idea. It seems pretty good. Here's some money. Make it happen.
Yeah.
And then it just fucking flew. I think they said they put an arcade machine out for a weekend in New York right after it came out, and that one arcade machine in a weekend got like $2,000 worth of tokens.
That's pretty cool.
A quarter at a time. That's pretty good.
It's obviously huge. We both played it, and then we had to suffer through these wannabes who were like, oh man, Mortal Kombat's really good. Let's make a Mortal Kombat game. And people still have a strange reverence for some of these cheap knockoffs. Like the first one here that I have is Primal Rage. Do you remember
I do
this?
remember Primal Rage. That was all they were all 3D like claymation almost.
Well, it was kind of the same deal. Yeah, it was like claymation. It was obviously a nod to the Harryhausen movies of the 60s and 70s, and it was mainly it was Mortal Kombat with claymation and dinosaurs and giant.
I was about to say
apes.
that's the one with the raptor, right?
Yes, there was a raptor,
and he would do the tail whip for the low kick. I remember that.
And it was bad.
Yeah.
But people love this for some reason. It's just kind of I understand people love some dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I love dinosaurs. I would love a dinosaur fighting game. I play this. I think I lied to myself for years.
This is a great game. This is awesome. I can be a skeleton with a pirate sword fighting a dinosaur.
That's actually Killer Instinct.
That is Killer Instinct. I'm thinking of. Sorry, you're right.
Which is okay. I mean, that's gonna pop up as well.
They were a dime a dozen. It's an easy enough thing to confuse at that point.
Well, they had fatalities as well.
Yeah.
And the best part about these games, honestly, to me, was if you're fighting with this giant, like a T-Rex monster.
Yeah.
And there's a tiny sprite human running across the ground. You can just reach down and grab him and gobble him up. It was like Rampage, but they pumped this game out. People dug it. You know, they,
Oh man, you know what I realized just now? Like, totally doesn't hold up to the sands of time. Virtua Fighter.
Virtual Fighter, yeah, that was kind of a Street Fighter knockoff.
Polygons fighting other polygons.
So slow.
So slow.
Very slow.
I think I won most of my games through Ring Out.
Yeah, just like kind of like
It was so easy
slowly
to
knock
it
him to
was
the edge.
so easy to throw somebody out of that ring.
Yeah, they kind of. I mean, those games were not very good, but later on, you know, you had like the Soul Calibur, Soul Edge games that kind of
Yeah, they panned out.
improved on that formula, which you could also cheap somebody out and just knock them out of the
Ring
ring
out on
and
that
win
one easy,
that way
yeah.
as well. But yeah, that was Primal Rage. That was an arcade game called Time Killers. Did you ever play this game?
I'm not. I think to our listeners, we're both pretty into nerd culture, but Tink's had a couple years on me.
Maybe.
Just a couple.
Yeah.
We're not. I mean, we're kindred spirits, definitely. But
I'm
there's
only 47.
47. I'm only 33. No.
Yeah.
Tink had a couple years on me, so he was able to get a little bit more of that arcade experience than I was able to get.
Well, because the arcades died. I would love to do an arcade. I don't keep saying I want to do this episode, but like an episode just on the life and death of the arcade.
We'd have to go find a really good arcade for that one, which I had no problem with. Like, if we could find like a really good retro arcade around here and just go spend $100 on a weekend, I'd be keen. I'd absolutely jump on that.
I feel like this era of video games, like all these knockoffs, kind of led to the death of the
absolutely.
arcade. This game,
Oversaturation of the market right there.
Time Killers, was this arcade game.
Explain this one to me. I want to know.
It was terribly drawn. The characters in it are just like the worst kinds of characters. They were all like, one's name was Rancid. He's a streetwise punk framed for murder. Like this, all these
The most tropey of backstories. Got
thug
it.
with two G's.
Two
Lone
Gs.
Wolf. Wolf was spelled WULF.
That's how you know it's serious. That's how you know it's extreme and rad.
Yeah, exactly.
To borrow from the vernacular of the time.
There was a praying mantis man whose name was Mantaz.
Man.
Anyway,
Stop.
the whole selling point of this game was you could be fighting 20 seconds into a match, you could just happen to hit somebody just clip a dude's neck, the right angle, you chop his head off, match is over, you win.
Wow.
So
that would kill so many games for me.
Yeah, blood would just squirt out everywhere. Cause it's like, oh man, Mortal Kombat had blood. Let's have even more blood, but make it look really shitty.
It sounds like they were trying to go for a more Mortal Kombat.
Yes, exactly.
That was a harder phrase to say than I expected in my head.
Well, they didn't have. They only had like a fraction of the budget. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they wanted to hop on this train. Oh my god, it's a chore to get through. It's terrible.
Did you beat it?
Back in the day on like a MAME emulator.
Gotcha.
I did. I don't know why. It was
like,
a waste.
I haven't hated myself enough today. I'm gonna go try this.
There was like a Midway actually made an arcade game called War Gods, which was
Not familiar.
It looked so similar to Mortal Kombat. They just like took Mortal Kombat and tossed in a bunch of new characters.
Yeah.
It was on a very similar engine, cheap. I played it on the N64, not very good. And there was Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct.
That's the one I'm familiar with.
Yeah, that's like a rare game. They like,
That was Rare. I forgot about Rare.
Yeah.
They had some good games. They had some bad games.
They did have some really bad games. Killer Instinct is one of those games that's kind of revered now still.
Yeah.
It has its moments, but it's not
It stood
very
out
good.
amongst the shit.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't great, but it was better than what was coming out at the time.
They like really put all their chips into the combo basket.
Yes, they
So
did.
they were like, hey,
combo.
yeah, that's where that comes from.
Yep.
The combo breaker. That's all Killer Instinct. It turned into a meme years later.
Yep.
But yeah, there was a slew of Mortal Kombat knockoff games.
They really were.
They're not very, very good.
Beer me.
Beer you. Where are they? All right, we have
Underneath your...
beer of the week is Terrapin Hopsecutioner.
Did we not talk about that already?
No, we did not.
Oh,
We
we're
haven't mentioned
so
it yet.
bad. Yeah, Terrapin Hopsecutioner. So I found out retroactively we're theming our beers. So
like that.
we talked about the Avengers, which are classic American characters, even though one of them is Russian and the other, whatever. But
They're all invented
they're all invented
by
in America.
Americans.
And what do we have is Yingling. That's a classic American beer.
Yeah.
So this week, we're in honor of fatalities and brutalities and just Mortal Kombat in general. We have Terrapin Hopsecutioner, which is brewed in Athens, Georgia.
I like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
Can you hand me that?
all
opener,
good.
please?
Oh yeah, we have this guy here.
It's a wine key.
It's a wine key who looks kind of like a Mortal Kombat character.
Honestly, it could be like a for it. And so yeah, we're gonna open up another.
We're gonna say this is
Another nice
Spinal.
Terrapin.
We're gonna name him Spinal. That was the skeleton's name. Who had a pirate sword for some reason.
He did. I forgot about that.
Let's not. I don't want to get too far into the Killer Instinct lore.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know.
It's not very good.
It really isn't. Probably. All right.
Yeah. My old band, we played a show.
Okay.
At the Independent, this old bar here in Auburn.
Right.
And we got hammered. It was like the most drunk we've ever been for a show. My friend Ethan, he was our drummer at the time and guitar player.
I like seeing him do both at once.
I wish. He had on, for some reason, a chicken costume.
All right.
It was like the mask and all this stuff. He halfway through the show, it's a sloppy mess. He takes off his mask and he's like, "Hey, Tink, do we sound as good as I think we sound?" And I went, "Yeah, we do." And so I was like, we just kept drinking. The next day, people told me, "You guys sounded terrible last night. That was the worst show you've ever done." So it makes me think, the more we drink on these podcasts, for me, it's getting better and better and better. But
I think we sound better. But then I can only imagine editing tomorrow. I'm just gonna be like, what the fuck were we talking? I can't even understand what we're saying.
Yeah, why did he even tell that story about this drunken show?
You had to be there. You had to be there.
Exactly. It's fun here. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. If you were in the apartment with us, you'd have an awesome time.
Which, by the way, if you are good at the microphone and you have a good topic, please let us know.
Absolutely.
We'd love to have you in here to do a guest appearance on the podcast.
Absolutely. If you can somehow make your way to Auburn, Alabama, and you have a good idea, we're happy to entertain it.
Talk about something you love or something you hate that you just know a lot about.
If we can get we haven't had a chance to really get salty yet. If I could get salty on the mic, I feel like me pumping stuff up, I'm good at.
Yeah.
Me tearing stuff apart, I'm exceptional at.
Well, we can get into the Mortal Kombat movies if you want.
Oh, let's get into the Mortal Kombat movies.
Okay.
So it's 1995 is when Mortal Kombat 1 comes out.
Yes.
And it's a fairly faithful adaptation of what the Mortal Kombat first game was. Raiden's explaining it to these guys, and they're all figuring it out. And it's a pretty good idea. They ripped it right from the game.
Yeah,
and
it's a fun movie.
Absolutely, I had a lot of fun.
It flows. I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but you don't really need it to.
No.
It's directed by Paul W.S. Anderson,
which was amazing to me. That was so neat to hear.
Which not Paul P.T. Anderson, Paul Thomas Anderson,
right.
Paul W.S. Anderson, two different kinds of directors there. He's the guy that did Resident Evil. I think he did Event Horizon. Just kind of a low level director.
So some of the stuff that Paul W.S. Anderson has done is he did AVP, the first Alien vs. Predator.
Mm-hmm.
He did the first Resident Evil movie in 2002. Death Race.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did Death Race. He did Resident Evil Afterlife as well. Most recently, he did Pompeii.
Yes. The disaster movie.
Not a good movie.
Years after the disaster movies were already done.
Not a good movie.
I'll say Terrapin slur.
I will say that the song Pompeii it was much better than the movie Pompeii, and I really didn't like the song Pompeii.
I'll tell you this: the actual disaster Pompeii was better than the movie. So yeah.
Oh my God! You know what I realized he just did talking about fighting games? The Dead or Alive movie that came out.
I never saw that. The beach
was
volleyball.
Okay.
I know that. There's Dead or Alive and Dead or Alive beach volleyball.
I'm not gonna let you sully the name of Dead or Alive beach volleyball.
I will not.
I was 15 and horny, and that game was amazing to me.
It's kind of a game changer as far as prepubescent teen boys.
Absolutely.
Go. Yeah.
Because it was not a rated M game, so I could go into any Rhino, EB Games, or GameStop to date myself here.
I miss Rhino.
Rhino was a good time. But yeah, I could go in and buy that.
Wow.
Sorry, Mom.
Hey man, I think she loves you either way.
Right?
Mortal Kombat movie.
Mortal Kombat the movie.
It had some talent, man. I had a huge crush on what was her name? It was like Bridget something or another.
Bridget Wilson Sampras.
Yes. Oh my God.
She was also the girlfriend in Billy Mays.
Yes, that's why I had a crush on her. It was like that mixed with this. Her, I forget the Johnny Cage.
Lyndon Ashby, who went on to fame Melrose Place, Young and the Restless.
Yeah, sounds good.
There's a movie, or not a movie, there's a TV show he did really well in. I'm trying to find it. He's been in a lot, but none of it was really great. He's been in a lot of Paul W.S. Anderson movies. He's been in all the Resident Evil movies.
Oh, really?
And another movie, here's a fun fact, in 2005 he's in a movie called Sub-Zero.
No relation. I bet he had nightmares though.
Sub-Zero, fuck. Oh, I got it ready for this.
I think it was like Robin Shu, or is it pronounced Shao?
I've always heard it Shu.
Okay. Robin Shu from Beverly Hills Ninja. It was him. Highlander, Christopher Lambert.
Christopher Lambert, yeah.
He's showing off how he couldn't act even in the.
He was
Highlander
there for a
movie.
paycheck, and I think I don't know, Asian God of Thunder, played by a French Canadian.
Yeah, the whitest of the
white. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Seems a little racist, especially when he's wearing that fucking hat.
yeah. It was fun.
It seemed a little insensitive.
Although this movie, I like love it for all kinds of reasons. It's cheesy, good fun.
I put it in the same way. Like I absolutely, I know it's not a good movie. I know it's a bad series of films. Yes, but the two Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles films, yes, I hold a certain nostalgia. I love them to death. I will always watch them if I see them.
Yeah, I'm the same boat. Even three. I watched three.
Even three.
That piece of garbage.
That
three.
terrible split.
Did we mention this last time as well? Did we go off on Ninja Turtles 3?
It was a brief mention, but it's worth mentioning. It's worth repeating. It bears repeating, definitely. Hockey.
Oh my God. Yeah, they had to bring back friggin' Casey Jones for the cheap hockey scenes.
Hockey.
But this, I don't know. I really enjoy this movie for all its faults. I feel that certain things are a little wacky, like Sub-Zero gets cheated, basically.
Liu Kang has to cheat to fight Sub-Zero. I love it.
He
twice. He cheats twice.
He cheats twice in the same fight. Okay, Raiden walks in dressed in. He has like a cowl over his face.
Yeah, he's dressed in a robe.
Lays down 2 buckets of water
for no reason.
And
then Liu Kang sips out of one and
he can't figure it out at this point. Liu Kang's an idiot.
Hey, some nice, refreshing, cool water for me. This is gonna be great.
He's like, oh, if only I had some ice. Anyway.
And then Sub-Zero walks in. Now, bear in mind, at the very beginning of the movie, the first thing you see is Sub-Zero freeze a dude.
Is it the first thing, really?
It's one of the first. No, it's not the very first thing. The very first thing is Shang Tsung taking Liu Kang's little brother's soul.
So, at this point, he knows the Sub-Zero
has ice
powers. He
knows that this weird dude can freeze people.
Okay, so he sees 2 buckets of water.
Yeah.
He's drinking out of it. At this point, like a horse.
You can literally lead Liu Kang to water.
Yeah. Okay, and then he still can't figure it out.
He's getting his ass kicked.
Yeah. He has to have
Katana.
Princess Katana come in, tell him in his ear, hey, by the way, this guy can freeze water. Like what's in these 2 buckets here. You can use these 2 buckets. Liu Kang, use these 2 buckets. And then she walks away. And Liu
10,000 years old. 10,000 years of living and wisdom so that Liu Kang can throw a bucket at a freezing guy.
And he still only kind of gets it. He's like, oh man, I could totally use these buckets.
You can literally see Paul W.S. Anderson walks on frame and holds a light bulb above Liu Kang's head that illuminates. He's like, oh, I get it now.
Oh, it makes sense. Mortal Kombat. I'm immortal. It makes sense. So, yeah, it's goofy. I've always kind of appreciated a storytelling when the main character's a moron.
Absolutely.
And I think they didn't mean for it to happen in this, but he's a moron.
There's a lot of exposition. There's a lot of exposition in this movie. Which, granted, I sat here for the first 20 minutes of this podcast. I said, oh, well, the story behind Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 is this. Which I had to look into 6 different Wikipedias and read all these different things and play the games to really know it.
Yeah.
So I can understand where it might become a little bit contrived and complicated.
It all starts to blend you know, like the first Mortal Kombat game and the movie, like in my mind, the lore for the game is the movie.
And that was, you know, bully on them. That was good work for them to literally just take what is in the information from the game and make it into a movie.
Yeah.
And not look any more into it than that.
It was good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not good. I'm gonna say, you know, we talked about that.
It's fun.
Yeah. It's a fun, dumb video game movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, as far as every video game movie ever made is concerned, it's probably one of the better ones.
It holds up. Like if you compare it to Street Fighter or to
Tomb Raider.
Double Dragon or God forbid Tomb Raider
Yeah.
or fucking
there's a bunch of them.
there's a bunch of terrible.
There's like some
video
that you wouldn't even think were video game movies.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like the Hitman movies. They're not. I don't think they're very good. You know.
I felt like I would rather play the game than watch the movie.
Yeah.
I love Timothy Olyphant. Believe me, like Timothy Olyphant is awesome. He makes a really good character for that.
Yeah.
But every other part of that movie, I was just like,
It's bad.
ugh.
I mean, yeah. There's like the Mario Bros. Movie. All this
Can we
stuff.
not talk about the Mario Brothers
Sure.
movie ever?
Not until later.
Oh,
we'll get
God.
to that another day. But yeah, you know, there are no good movies. This one really stands out. Like,
Yeah.
and the first Resident Evil, which is also Paul W.S. Anderson.
Who cast his wife?
Yeah, cast his wife, which is good. You know, I actually really like Mia Jovovich.
Yeah.
It kind of stands
She was
out.
Lulu Dallas.
She was Lulu Dallas. Multi-pass.
Multi-pass.
And then this movie does, I think, decently well. You know, makes some money. So they decide, hey,
Let's make
do
a sequel. Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yeah, and I think they just like looked at the roster for the Mortal Kombat 2 and 3 and were like, all right, let's toss them in there.
Everybody showed up. Rain was there. Jade was there. Ermac was there.
Rain was there.
Motaro was there. Shiva was
I
there.
don't even remember this. This sounds horrible.
They were all there.
Did I block all this out?
You probably did, because that movie did so abysmally.
Yeah.
So abysmally, they canceled the third movie that they already written.
I'm sure
There were so many plans, because there was going to be Mortal Kombat Deception or something like that was going to
Yeah.
be the third movie. I can't remember the title.
Yeah.
The script was written. They'd already greenlit it. They were ready to go. Just waiting on getting that second movie out. It did
Yeah.
so poorly, canceled it.
I remember
Completely
watching it.
killed the franchise.
I was like, this was like at the peak of my fandom. This was like right after Mortal Kombat, I think 3 or whatever came out. Maybe it could have been even after like Mortal Kombat Trilogy came out. But yeah, like I was like, oh sweet, Mortal Kombat sequel. And then they scrapped Christopher
Lambert. They brought some weird dude.
No, it was the guy that played Dexter's dad.
Yes.
Whose name I can't remember at this time. They brought him in, and he was even more jokey and quippy. He got a haircut, and he.
Well, yeah, the idea was
mentioned
that, like, oh, I have to go fight in Outer World? All right, cool. I have to be immortal now, so I'm going to lose a lot of my powers.
And I'm gonna
it's
get
my
a
new
haircut. You know what I mean? And then I can't remember if Barack or Melina were in it. This was so long.
Melina
ago.
was, I think, I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah.
I think, okay, so the James Remar.
Remar,
Remar, which I know him from other stuff. He was in Django, he was in Dexter, he
Yeah.
was in Ratatouille.
He's a great actor, man. It was kind of like below him to do this.
I really need to redo my bathroom.
Is this movie called Mortal Kombat Paycheck? Mortal Kombat Paycheck? I'll do it. No, it's actually Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
In fact, the
Paycheck,
only
got it.
character to come back, there were two characters to come back, and that was Talisa Soda, who played Katana,
Okay.
and Robin Shue, who played Liu
Who
Kang.
would do anything?
Which I have to say, honestly, Robin Shue was in another Paul W.S. Anderson movie after this, Death Race 2.
So he was contractually obligated to do all of this.
I don't know. I have no idea. I wouldn't I wouldn't doubt that, though, because he was in Death Race 2,
Yeah.
which, if anybody remembers, that movie was a direct DVD sequel of Death Race, which was a remake of a movie
In the
that people
70s or
didn't
whatever,
really
right?
care about.
Okay. See, I never saw any of the Death Race movies. I heard about them. I saw the trailers. There's like a Death Race 2000. Is that the second one?
Death Race 2000 was the original,
Oh, okay.
and then they
See,
remade that
I'm
as
confused.
Death Race
Okay.
with Jason Statham.
Okay.
And then they did a sequel to that movie called Death Race 2.
See, you know more about this than I do. I'm just kinda
I know what I
blabbering
see in the
drunkenly.
Walmart $5 bin.
All right, so
One good thing we got out of Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I forgot about this. Ray Park.
oh yeah.
That was his first
Star
movie.
Wars guy.
That was his first movie. He played Darth Maul. He's played a million other awesome characters. He played Toad in the first X-Men movie.
Oh, is that who that was?
That's Ray Park.
I honestly had
He
no
is
idea.
an amazing martial artist. The best stuntman I've ever seen. He
doesn't ever get credit, by the way.
absolutely. That was his first movie, and that's what got us the Duel of the Fates.
Which is really fun. It's like the best part of it, the prequels.
Absolutely.
Here's our prequels talk for this podcast. We promised it. Here it is. Dude, yeah, like, I really enjoyed a lot of the choreography in those movies, and he was a big part of it. You know what else I loved about Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat Annihilation?
What's that?
The soundtrack. That music got
That
played
fucking music.
more play
Yeah.
than it should have. And it's like whenever I think of Mortal Kombat, I played the like four games first. Then I saw the movie. Now that theme song is what I associate with the games.
Absolutely.
It's like so.
And we're talking about, of course, we played it earlier in the podcast, but it's the
Techno,
I don't know,
whatever.
the EDM techno. The
Yeah.
EDM before EDM was EDM.
Yeah. What was the band?
House music.
KMFDM.
Yeah.
The other became MDFMK or whatever.
In
All
a
the same.
1,000 years, when some ancient civilization digs up a Blu-ray of Mortal Kombat that somebody happened to have in their house that was somehow preserved after the nuclear apocalypse, they're going to listen, and having no prior knowledge of this time frame, they're going to listen to that CD and they're going to, oh, this was from the 1990s.
Dude, I can only hope that the one piece of human technology that makes
survives.
it to alien races is a Mortal Kombat theme song. It's perfect, you know?
It is. It's a techno beat.
Yeah.
With somebody yelling.
Yeah.
And it's got samples of the game. Like a lot, you'll hear like and that's actually soundtrack from the game from people getting hit.
Exactly. And it said there was a mini game in Mortal Kombat which was kind of ripped from Street Fighter, where like you
test your might.
It was called Test Your Might.
You're
In
cutting,
Street Fighter,
yeah.
They would like drop you into an arena. You beat
You
up
have
a
to
car.
beat up a Corvette.
Yeah, it's like, hey, destroy this car in 15 seconds. In Mortal Kombat, you had to break a bunch of wood or something.
Yeah, it was a tapping game. You had to tap.
Yes.
You had to tap A and then tap B when you had hit a certain target.
Which had zero purpose.
Yeah.
It was just hey, can you
feed us
can you
quarters?
do this? Yeah, exactly. Give us a quarter to do this dumb thing. Then do this other dumb thing after you feed us more quarters. We like had all this stuff. It was basically a mess of distractions.
Yeah. Which, by the way, after this podcast ends, we're gonna boot up Mortal Kombat X,
Please,
because they have Test Your Might in there too.
All right.
So we're gonna do that.
All right. So we need to move on at this point because we are only to Mortal Kombat 3 and Trilogy, which was, by the way, just a combination of all the Mortal Kombat.
The single greatest game ever, because every non-playable character that they had throughout Mortal Kombat suddenly became playable. So you could play as Kintaro, Motaro, Shao Kahn, Shang Tsung. Every character, Smoke, Cyrax, Ninja Smoke,
and
Noob Saibot.
It still had run, all the combos, and all this stuff. So it was kind of like an updated Mortal Kombat. That made a lot of money. I think
it was so much fun. I had it on the PlayStation.
Yeah, I had it on N64. Actually.
It was a good time. I had a lot of that is my fondest memory of Mortal Kombat.
That was one of the 6 games I had on N64.
Was one of them Star Fox 64?
It was.
Okay,
actually.
Good.
And then they decided, hey, guess what? PlayStation and N64 make 3D possible. Let's do a 3D fighting game.
That was Mortal Kombat 4, and then through all the other ones. Mortal Kombat 4, not a pretty game.
No, it's hideous.
A lot of polygons.
All
were visible.
those like early PS1 and N64 games look really bad.
They don't hold up.
Yeah.
Do not
Mortal
hold up.
Kombat 4. It reminds me of those THQ wrestling games.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Where like everybody to show that somebody had muscles, they had lumps in their arms.
Absolutely. It was just, like if you look at somebody on Synthol right now, that was what somebody in those games looked like.
Yeah, it's actually more realistic than we thought.
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed Mortal Kombat 4 because it brought in it introduced all the new characters. That was the first game to have a lot of new characters.
That was
Quan
Chi came in.
Quan Chi came in at that point, but he didn't. So when the Mortal Kombat 4 console game was coming out, while they were developing that, they were doing what I was talking about earlier, Sub-Zero Mythologies, which is where Quan Chi and Shinnok became characters in the Mortal Kombat.
Who was Shinnok?
Shinnok was a former. It was not. I've been saying higher gods for the whole thing. It's elder gods.
Okay.
Shinnok
this
was a
is kind
former...
of like a Lovecraftian thing.
Very similar to.
Okay.
Shinnok was a former elder god who became very evil.
Okay.
And so Quan Chi is his chief sorcerer and is the guy who's trying to bring Shinnok back out of Netherrealm. So
Okay.
here we get another realm. Netherrealm is hell. Essentially, that's the easiest way to describe it. It's where all bad evil souls go when they die.
So I was of the impression that Outer Realm was evil, but Netherrealm is evil.
Outer
Outer Realm is just a bunch of dicks.
Yes.
Okay.
Where Netherrealm is to go into Netherrealm, you absolutely, and this is a thing that's harped on within the Sub-Zero Mythologies game, you have to have evil inside of your soul to be able to enter Netherrealm.
Okay. So
And actually, part of the official lore of Netherrealm, if I can say, within Mortal Kombat, is that Shinnok gets cast into Netherrealm, usurps Lucifer. The name Lucifer is used.
Lucifer lives in Netherrealm.
Usurps Lucifer to become ruler of Netherrealm so that he can then come back, take control of Outer Realm and Earth Realm, and destroy the other Elder Gods.
I kind of love that they like tossed in like Earth's,
Earth's
Bible. We got that right. What we didn't get was that Lucifer lives in Netherrealm, and there's these Elder Gods who want to kill Lucifer. Okay, so you have to go through Earth, which is full of jerks, to Outer Realm, which is full of dicks, to Netherrealm, which is full of evil dicks.
Yes.
Okay, this is making more sense to me as we go along.
And this also, to jump back into Sub-Zero Mythologies, this is the first time Scorpion's killed.
Who's killed? Okay, so Scorpion's dead.
Scorpion is absolutely, unequivocally killed.
We did not mention that Sub-Zero was killed in Mortal
Kombat 2, and then in Mortal Kombat 3, you're actually playing
Henry Rollins.
his little brother, correct.
Yeah, Henry Rollins, who's very angry.
And the only difference is that he doesn't wear a mask and he has a big scar over his eye.
Gotcha. He founded Blue Flag, right?
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Blue because it's cold.
Yes.
There's a whole big thing between Sub-Zero and Scorpion where it's just bad blood because they're two rival. There's two rival ninja clans who aren't necessarily at each other's throats, but there's kind of a timid peace between them. But then Quan Chi, who is again the shape-shifting evil sorcerer, makes himself appear as Sub-Zero, goes in, kills Scorpion's entire village clan. The entire clan that is Scorpion gets wiped out.
Not just the men, but the women and the children.
The women and the children, to include Scorpion's...
That's a pretty cool reference, I'm sorry.
To include Scorpion's family. And he does it while disguised as Sub-Zero. So this is what sparks the bad blood between Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero gets killed in Mortal Kombat 2. Sub-Zero's little brother, literally his younger brother, is able... Henry Zero is able to... he has to fight again. Okay, so Mortal Kombat 3, you've got Sector, Cyrax, and Smoke. These are all members of Sub-Zero's clan of Lin Kuei.
Lin Kuei Warriors.
Lin Kuei Warriors, correct.
Okay, go ahead.
They are turned into soulless robots in an effort to become greater killing machines.
Is Kung Lao a Lin Kuei warrior?
No, he is White Lotus.
White Lotus.
Liu Kang and Kung Lao are White Lotus.
Okay, they're different clan.
Different, not necessarily clan. They're actually Shaolin monks.
See, okay, this is where I get confused.
It's definitely
because
confusing.
Shaolin monks is White Lotus is a subsect of Shaolin monk.
Correct.
But then Lin Kuei is totally different.
Totally different.
Okay. My 12-year-old brain.
Oh yeah, it just popped. It follows the tradition of every Chinese opera ever.
Which is cool.
Yeah,
I understand all this.
Absolutely. There's a lot to take in, and unless you are a huge nerd who literally devoted a week to learning everything.
Yeah.
I was a fan before, but now I know way more than I ever expected to in just getting ready for this super podcast. So there's definitely a lot going on there. But that's what sparked the bad blood. And then you've got the Lin Kuei who turn into robots. And then you've got Sub-Zero's little brother who comes back and defeats the evil leader of the Lin Kuei.
Who is?
I don't know the name.
Okay.
Some evil leader of the Lin Kuei who turned all his guys into robots. He kills him and
Robotnik, we'll call him that.
Robotnik.
Yeah.
He returns the Lin Kuei to an honorable clan and is able to have again a attended piece with Scorpion, who is the leader, I remember, of the clan Shirai Ryu.
So, Shirai Ryu
Yes.
and
Lin Kuei
are bros at the end of Mortal Kombat 3.
Not at Mortal Kombat 3. It wasn't breached until later.
Oh no!
I don't know exactly when,
No,
but
just lie to me.
It was you're actually right. It was at the end of Mortal Kombat 3 because that's when Sub-Zero learns of the plot and he is able to shut down. You're right. It is at the end of Mortal Kombat 3.
I'm just laughing because people are probably at this point losing their
Just
minds.
banging their head
They don't
against their
know-
steering wheel.
Yes, what's going on?
I'm causing nosebleeds everywhere. The only person who's following this podcast at this point is Ed Boon.
Exactly. He's like, oh, I got this wrong and this wrong. Where does Shaq Fu come into play?
that came into play as the worst fighting game in the history of.
Because
It was both the worst fighting game and the worst sports game in the history
honestly,
of games.
like that in Michael Jordan cast in the Windy City, they like both were like, let's put a bunch of demons in our basketball
For
game,
no reason at
fighting
all.
and stuff.
You know what's good with basketball combat, one-on-one martial
Exactly.
arts.
I guarantee you there'll be a like a LeBron, versus evil game.
If I could get like LeBron fights the forces of hell, I would buy it.
yeah, it's gonna happen.
I'd review it. We would do a podcast episode
All
on
right,
it.
if it never happens.
Yeah,
All right,
game programmers,
we
you're
are
listening.
beholden to the listener now to do this.
So I'm writing. My ass is writing checks that my mouth can't. Or my mouth is writing checks that my ass can't cash.
Yeah,
It's
that's
awesome.
all right. Hey, man, you know what, though? This is a good time to talk about how great this Hopsecutioner is.
Absolutely. It's an Indie Pale Ale, brewed and bottled by Terrapin Beer Company in Athens, Georgia. Which we're both from the South. We're Auburn, Alabama, local boys down here. And we
There are a lot of good, like, southern microbreweries.
Fat Tire, Back 40.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Terrapin.
Yeah, Terrapin I've always enjoyed. It's got the turtle. Which I like.
More of these we can. We talk about turtles a lot, so it'll come in handy later.
Absolutely.
Any TMNT thing we do, we'll drink a Terrapin.
We'll bring another a different kind of Terrapin.
If we ever attribute the Turtles comics at any point, there's a cow.
I would have so much reading that day.
It's alright. I got you covered.
Okay,
on this.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
We can-
my lack of turtle knowledge, will match your lack of Mortal Kombat knowledge, and it'll just be me looking at you like I have no idea what's going on. At this point.
There's a giant cow head that talks to them, and they're also intergalactic wrestlers. Anyway,
I've already been lost.
that
That's
all
great.
happens, and so we can drink Moo at that point.
We can drink Terrible Moo,
which I
makes
do
sense.
love a nice chocolate milk stout. So that makes some good sense.
I was gonna say I imagine there would be a lot of copyright infringement if they named one Turtle Power.
Oh God, that song.
Turtles
Anyway,
on the Half Show. Turtle Power.
back to Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
We got 4, correct? This is like
4 is as far as I go.
Quan Chi.
Honestly, I trip up at 4 because you have a lot of new characters who are introduced.
I tried reading and watching videos of this.
Really difficult.
No clue.
No
There's
clue.
like so many new ninjas and stuff.
Yeah,
There's
that's
like another like a new female ninja in PlayStation era.
There's a whole lot of new stuff. And now I'm going to go ahead and say that at this point, between Mortal Kombat 4 and Mortal Kombat 8, so you've got Special Forces, Deadly Line, you've got a lot of games that came out within that realm.
That's like
I'm lost.
Dead Zone.
Yeah, then that's where they were like, we fucked up.
Yeah.
We have to go back.
First of all, we cannot do very good fighting games in like 3D space.
Yeah, they were. This is when 3D was just developing. This was brand new.
It's bad.
I remember one of the big new moves in Mortal Kombat 4 was that you could sidestep. So you could actually, and it also had an interactive
Down,
environment.
is that what you would do? Up, down, down to.
Not even that. It was
the planes?
for on the PlayStation, which what I had, it was R2 or L2, and you would.
Oh, so it
sidestep.
wasn't even that. I guess intuitive.
No,
Okay.
it was just sidestep.
Okay.
And I remember one of the things that this was the first game that had like truly interactive stages where there were like a boulder or a bone or something on the stage.
Which is cool.
You could go and you
I
could pick
enjoy
up
it.
and your guy would just pick it up and throw it across the screen. And if you could if you saw them broadcasting they were gonna do it, you just sidestep it and go past you.
Well, this is like is turning into what the THQ wrestling games were. Which
Yes.
was great.
Really
games.
fun
You
at
could
the
like
time,
pick up
yeah.
like an object.
I remember like
move in 3D
WCW
space.
versus NWO and shit like that was always a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
like if you wanted a good fighting game in 3D, play
Wrestling.
those.
Yeah.
Because Mortal Kombat, from what I remember, I played 4. I did not like. I played Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 3. It's one of the Street Fighter games, like the first ones, and 3 as well. It's just not fun.
It's
not
really
translatable to 3D.
and it was a good idea,
Yeah.
but we didn't have the technology.
Yeah, it
that
has
was
the
the
Virtua
only
Fighter
issue.
problem. Where
Yeah.
it's just too clunky and slow.
Yeah.
They fixed that, of course, later with Soul Calibur games.
Yes.
Which a lot of fun. I really enjoy those. I never enjoyed a 3D Mortal Kombat game.
Not really.
I kind of like piddled with a couple of them. I played 4 a bit. It's just, I don't know, not for me. And so I think they had a problem with that. So that's why in 2000, what year was it? 2012, 2011, whatever year?
12.
Yeah, when they released Mortal Kombat 9
Yep.
/ Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
That's all it was called, right?
They just renamed it Mortal Kombat, and they I enjoyed this because they retconned everything.
Yes. That's what I wanted. 'Cause
yeah.
I was so confused by that.
They took it back to their roots when there were the games. I'm not gonna say the games were good, but when the games were genuinely like when they had a lot of thought put into the games. And it restarted at the very first Mortal Kombat tournament.
Because the gameplay was never great. You know what I
Right.
mean? It was just a cool story, cool characters. You
Yeah.
could do fatalities.
I will say
Mixed in with this cool lore.
we have to jump back because we skipped a game.
That's all right. Amen.
Mortal Kombat versus DC.
Ah, okay. That was before Mortal Kombat.
That was before Mortal Kombat 9.
Gotcha.
But it was made by NetherRealm Studios, and that's when
That's the Tony Hawk crew, right?
no, that's
I have to look it up now.
yeah. I can't remember what that was. That's the one. Neversoft. Neversoft is the Tony Hawk crew.
Ah.
NetherRealm.
soft.
NetherRealm.
I was got those soft.
Yeah. NetherRealm
Uh-huh.
is the one who did all the Mortal Kombat games, and they did Mortal Kombat versus DC. They also did Injustice: Gods Among Us,
Okay.
which followed very closely to the Mortal Kombat versus DC. I credit.
This is so confusing.
Yeah, but separate of that, because Injustice is based solely off of a comic book series, which is really good. Mortal Kombat versus DC is based off nothing at all. The idea is that for some reason the Mortal Kombat universe and the DC universe are starting to merge.
Which I love DC.
Yes,
We've
we're
established
both
this.
we like Marvel. We love DC.
Yes.
I have an affair
Same-
with
same-
Dark
same
Horse
page.
every now and then.
Yeah, of
I'll
course.
say that. If I had to fuck, marry, kill, I'd probably fuck Dark Horse. I'd marry DC and I'd kill Marvel.
That makes it sound so terrible, like you just hate Marvel.
It's not that I hate Marvel. I just
Yeah.
prefer the others.
I am the same way.
Except for movies.
We're in the minority. Yeah, the movies. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
And so, I was under the impression that Tony Hawk
Never saw.
Saw.
I can understand where the confusion
Yeah.
comes from though. This bloody eyeball. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Anyway,
NetherRealm
Sorry
Studios.
about that. Okay, so NetherRealm
Yes.
does this DC game, which I played a little bit of. It's pretty fun.
It's fun. The whole story is so terrible and convoluted.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Like, there's this thing called the Rage because nobody likes to talk things out. Like, everybody in that game could have benefited from a single communications seminar. But you've got like Batman fighting Liu Kang and Superman fighting Raiden and all this craziness.
How did they get around, like, Superman killing someone or being murdered by someone?
Two things. People were compelled to fight by what's called the Rage, which is this green glowing energy, which
28 days later.
is pretty much.
Okay.
It's a green glowing energy that kind of takes you over and really amps you up to fight, and it makes you more prone to violence,
Okay.
which is caused by the attempted merging of the two realms.
Okay.
And that's literally everything right there. Is that the merging of the two realms caused one, the Rage, two, it caused everybody to get onto an even keel.
Okay.
So Superman could still fly and shoot lasers out of his eyes, but they were severely hampered and weakened.
Okay, so that explains why Superman does just murder everybody
Exactly.
in his path, and there's no way to stop him.
Indeed.
Because if they were even killed, I don't think what's his name? Shao Kahn and his magic hammer wouldn't be able to. Well, actually, magic hammer
That's true.
might stop Superman.
That's true.
Wish they should have thought of that.
Yeah.
Actually. They could have just done a straight up thing: magic hammers versus Superman.
It's totally non-canon.
So stupid.
It totally takes place outside of both universes.
Yeah.
It's never mentioned again ever. It was just a fun idea that somebody was like, we got licensing for both, and we're working with Warner Brothers. Fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah, let's go for it. Why not, Jurassic Park versus Mortal Kombat?
It's
Isn't that
Universal.
also? Oh no, that's not Warner Brothers.
It's
That's
Universal.
Universal. So scrap that.
Yeah. But yeah, Warner Brothers happen to own the licenses for both Mortal Kombat and all the DC characters. They're like, we're doing it. It's gonna make so much money.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it sold well.
It's a good fun time for a drunk night, honestly.
Yeah.
But then you move into Mortal Kombat 9, which is again just Mortal Kombat, which takes place over the course of the first 3 games. And then you have the newest one, which just came out. I think it was mid-February, or no, it was mid-April. Came out April 14th.
Okay.
Which is Mortal Kombat X, which you and I have played a little bit of.
Yeah.
I've beaten the story in. I've played through a lot of the different characters for the towers. I enjoy it very much.
I had a very good time playing that.
It's fun. The most brutal game I've ever played.
Yeah, it's okay. I have a pretty high threshold for violence and gore and all this stuff. Mortal Kombat 10 pushed me, and I was like, I cannot handle a lot of this.
Now again, we're the word mortal in Mortal Kombat should really be in in quotes because there's these X-ray attacks that you can do that kill people. You're dead. That's it. That's the end of the end of the match. You're dead.
Your spine snaps in half, and your eyeballs pop out of your head.
And then your character hops right back up, and you're ready to fight. Like no. And again, I understand I'm coming from this place as
a cool little it's like a flourish, in the match.
Which
is
it's highly damaging and it's fun. It's good to do to really even out the match, especially if you're getting your ass kicked.
Yeah.
But you're dead. Like they could have brought a little bit less. Like that could have been the fatality.
It's like a Street Fighter Ultimate that they added later on. You know what I mean? Like you press a certain number of buttons together, and all of a sudden your guy's just beating the ever-loving crap out of
you rope it up somebody for long enough and you can come back.
Yeah.
Now, when I say that the X-ray attacks, which are normal attacks in the game, they're the normal special attacks that you can do during a match, should be the fatalities. Then we get to the fatalities.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
They disturbed me.
Somebody brought in a medical textbook and said, how can we incorporate these pictures into this game?
And Ed Boon's like, I know a way.
Ed Boon, the light bulb came on above his head and said, all right, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Some of the most grotesque, brutal, just insane things I've ever seen.
One character, Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade's kid.
Cassie Cage. She will punch you in your genitals and they will explode. They will?
Yeah.
It's rough stuff, man.
I never thought growing up that I would be in the in the freaking like Tipper.
This is a little bit extreme.
Tipper gore camp, but they
were like, how
okay
can we? there was a production meeting that said, how can we make it the most gross game we've ever made it?
Yeah.
And just now, in the last couple days, I haven't bought it because I don't feel like spending $30 because I only want 2 characters.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for those 2 characters to come out.
Wait.
Which one just came out, which was Jason Voorhees.
I want Jason Voorhees.
I didn't buy him because I didn't spend. Again, if I'm gonna place 2 characters, I'm not gonna spend $30 to do it.
Plus, Jason, I mean, I'm sure they had to speed him up for the.
They made him a power character.
Yeah,
I looked at some stuff on YouTube for this. I looked at the X-ray attacks and the brutality and the fatality because that's all I wanted to see.
Yeah. Now you don't have to buy him.
Exactly, right? and I wanted to see because all the different characters you can play through is classic Mortal Kombat style.
Yeah.
Whereas if you pick a character and you go through a tower, you get that character's ending.
Yeah.
You can learn a little bit. You can learn what happened to that character after Mortal Kombat.
That's all. I mean, honestly. I want to see everybody's fatality special moves. I want to see their ending,
and that's currently because I played the story, which is the main story through, which takes place immediately following Mortal Kombat 3.
Okay.
And then I'm working my way through all the different characters on the towers, and I'm just trying to see everybody's ending after Mortal Kombat. So it's fun. Yeah. I'm enjoying it. But they just included they just released Jason Voorhees, who has been one of their big selling
I
points.
can't imagine his like story.
At the end of spoiler alert, I'm just gonna put that out now.
Spoiler for Jason Voorhees.
So, within the realm of the game, Liu Kang rules NetherRealm.
Okay,
He's
he's a just and good ruler.
Not necessarily.
Oh no.
Through the course of the other games, he's turned evil because he's put under Quan Chi's spell.
Is he under that spell now?
Yes.
So he's not a good guy anymore.
He's not a good guy anymore. He becomes evil.
Okay.
You right?
All right.
Okay.
Let's keep this going.
So he is now ruling NetherRealm, and Jason ends up in NetherRealm because he's evil.
Yeah.
He's pretty evil.
Yeah, he is evil.
He walks up to Liu Kang. Liu Kang's sitting on the throne. He's like, "Hey, man, I'm willing to give you as many people as you can slaughter if you work for me." Jason responds by cutting his stomach open with a machete and choking him to death with his own entrails.
So he kills Liu
He
Kang.
kills Liu Kang.
Is this canon? Liu Kang is dead via Jason.
It's canon within the realm of that ending of the game.
Okay.
Like the fact that Jason Voorhees is even included is not going to be canon in Mortal Kombat. But
here's my problem with this.
Okay.
And this is a super nerdy thing.
All right.
I love Friday the 13th movies.
Right.
Of
course
seen
you do.
them all a billion times.
Even Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah, I've seen
Yep.
8. I've seen 9 a billion times. The piece of garbage.
Jason X.
Jason, I've seen
Jason in
that,
space.
too. Why would Jason care about any of this? Is my thing. Because
Killing people.
all that. Well, Jason doesn't just like killing.
Yeah.
Jason likes killing. People who are on his property.
Yeah. I think
Lake, and who are also sinning.
Yeah, I mean, from a business standpoint, from looking outside in, Warner Brothers was like, "We've got Jason Voorhees.
Yeah,
let's throw him in."
I understand that.
Yeah,
that
but
reason.
there's honestly within the canon of the game, within the realm of the game, it's just like Jason.
Jason's a killing machine.
Yeah.
In the game, he wants to kill. Mortal Kombat allows for a lot of kills.
Yep.
So add him in.
He gets to sate his bloodlust to an extent.
I'm okay with this. I mean, as long as he's fun to play.
He looks good. He's a power character.
Okay.
They're about to release, and this is the other character I want to play as the Predator from the Predator
Jesus.
series of movies.
Okay.
He's honest. I'm almost looking forward to him more than Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, how in the fuck are they going to include Predator in this? I'm very interested in that. You get 2 other characters. It's called the Combat Pack. You get 2 other characters who are minor characters through other portions of the game.
Sure.
Which I could not care less about. I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
But
at this point, I think they're a little bit, I guess, bankrupt on character ideas. I
Which
actually
they are.
played X for a bit with you.
Yeah.
And there's a guy with like an imp on his back.
Yep.
There's
Ferritor.
Yeah, there's like another like lady ninja, of course. I forget even who. She's
Devora,
like
the bug lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just I don't know.
I don't know. They do a good job of continuing the story because it all takes place after Shao Kahn is usurped.
He's just gone.
He's gone. He's dead. Totally out of the picture
All right.
now. The only issue I have with the game at this point is that there aren't enough characters. Like there's a lot of new characters and a lot of old characters. There are not enough. Like I was going into it hoping it would be more like Mortal Kombat Trilogy.
Yeah.
Where I would get just a huge list of playable characters. Because
Well,
I think there were like 40 characters in Mortal
There were a
Kombat
ton.
Trilogy. There's so many characters.
I mean, okay, I don't care about like if the game is balanced and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like Mortal Kombat Trilogy is fun because I can choose whoever this
Literally
crazy character
anybody,
I
yeah.
want. It's the same reason I enjoyed Marvel vs. Capcom 2,
Marvel vs.
3,
Capcom, all those were a lot of fun.
Yeah,
that
'cause
was
you can
I
just, like,
really enjoyed that
all
about
these like things. You were like, who would win in a Hulk versus Liu Kang fight? We all know Hulk will win, but I'm just saying is like like it's just fun to play out these like fantasies you have like 3rd, 4th grade school like I guess playground type
Absolutely.
deals. So the fact that
Just the what if.
that you can't do that, the what if factor is very important to me.
Yeah.
That's why I love Smash Bros so much because
God, I
it's
can't.
like
I love that game. I can't play it though because I get my ass kicked. There's 2 levels in Smash Brothers, and that is, hey, I remember playing the original and having a little bit of fun with it back when I was 10.
Yes.
And oh my God, I have to make $20,000 playing this game.
Yes.
and I am so far. Oh man, I get my ass kicked every time I even step on the course.
That's the Roy in Melee is my waifu type of game. Yeah, that's the hardcore player game. It was like, oh, I don't play anything beyond Melee, and I only play Fox. And then,
dude, I recently watched a series on YouTube of it was a compilation video of people freaking out over professional Smash Brothers games.
That's great.
I was ready to kill myself by the end of it.
People get so serious about the dumbest thing. It's
such a serious, stupid game.
That's why I love it though, because like I don't know. I mean, I haven't done the research. I'm sure there's like a subsect of Mortal Kombat fans who are the same kind of type of crazy.
Yeah,
and there's like
I've been on the Mortal Kombat subreddit recently.
Yeah.
And people get salty.
What is, if you know, like the tournament standard for Mortal Kombat games that people like play in tournaments now? Like, because like Smash Brothers, you have Melee, Street Fighter, you have Street Fighter 4. I think is
that's
like
a fantastic question.
The main thing now.
I honestly, if I had to guess, which I genuinely don't know, it would either be one of the original trilogy, which is 1992 to 1995 Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. Or they jump ahead and they play either Mortal Kombat or Mortal Kombat X.
Okay.
I imagine it would be either the absolute most recent or the very first.
As far as I know my limited research and knowledge, I think they put more of an emphasis on players being balanced now.
Yes,
than they ever did back then.
Some characters were definitely and a lot of it in the original. And this goes back to my cousin beating my ass with Cabal.
Sure.
If you knew what you were doing with the character,
yeah,
you could wreck.
Yeah.
Absolutely take over and just whatever you needed to do.
It's kind of the same way with Street Fighter 2 with me and my friend Carl, who I thought I was pretty good until I played him and he was using Blanca.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, let's go. I'm Ken versus Blanca. And he destroyed me. And I've like never been like beaten so badly in a fighting game in my life. So yeah, there's definitely, I hope that there's like a portion of, really hardcore Mortal Kombat fans that have turned this into a competitive experience.
Absolutely. I'm sure there's a holdout. I personally, if I was going to watch a tournament, I would prefer to see the original.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something, and we'll wrap this up with this, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely not like a balanced game, but it's still fun.
No, and I think one of the things I appreciate most about the Mortal Kombat, we're gonna call it Mortal Kombat 9 because that's easier to say than just keep saying Mortal Kombat. The Mortal Kombat 9 and Mortal Kombat 10 is that yes, they're 3D animated characters, but it's on a 2D environment, and it really takes it back to its roots. And they're saying like, you know what really worked for us was a side-scrolling fighting game where you had a limited interaction, which they have interactive elements within the different stages and levels, which are fun to work with, and you are rewarded to a degree for working with them. But it's you have a limited area, and your two characters are facing each other, and you fight. Yeah. And that goes right back to the original trilogy.
It's more skill-based than it is.
It's a lot more skill-based, and
random.
It's honestly, to me, it removes so many factors. It's just like, ugh. It's so much more fun for me because that's what I loved about playing the original was it was literally just one-on-one, go at it, have fun. Yeah. And see some crazy bloodiness in the process. Yeah. And that to me, like that in Mortal Kombat, no matter how off the rails or crazy it gets, is always going to hold that kind of reverie within me, and it's always going to be a very nostalgic part because it's something that growing up in the early to mid 90s like I did, you couldn't not play Mortal Kombat. You did not see it. So it was definitely a part that was played for me.
It's a big part of, it's relevant culturally.
Absolutely.
Of course. It played a big part. Like you said, there were so many, attempts to, disenfranchise the game and turn into this like evil scapegoat, you know what I mean? But it obviously spoke to us.
It spoke to us. It was the first hyper-violent game. Yeah. To the point where it created for the next 20 years, it created a system of actually having to rate games like you would any other media, movies, TV, anything like that. It created the ESRB, and it created a system of, wow, we really need to we ourselves as parents can't really take responsibility for what our children do, so we have to put it on somebody else to do it.
Yeah,
that's as political as I'm willing to get in a Mortal Kombat podcast.
Sure.
I'll say that now.
Yeah, I mean, it was important. I mean, it's important to me. It's important enough that we were able to record an hour.
We devoted an hour and 45 minutes of our life to talking about it.
And I think I have a lot of friends who also have like memories of this.
Absolutely,
it's an important. It's a stepping stone to. I guess for me, it like kind of proved that none of this really matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like violence in this game doesn't. I guess to get a little bit.
It can be fun.
Yeah, it's
a
like
really good
fun.
outlet. It's a lot of fun.
It's not. You don't do this. You don't play these games because you really want to. You
to me, I always played, and it's funny that we'd go back to Jason Voorhees.
Please do.
I played Mortal Kombat for the same reason that I, as a young man, would watch Friday the 13th, or Nightmare on Elm Street, or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that was like, what insanely what way are they going to kill each other that is so far outside of the realm of possibility that becomes comical?
It's fun, It's
so much fun to see a gallon of blood pour out of a ceiling for no reason.
It's not like a power fantasy or anything like that. It's just
it's
good. Like a nice like fun
adult-oriented fun.
Exactly. And so it's silly and dumb as it is.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Absolutely not.
I appreciate having experienced it.
No, that's Mortal Kombat.
It's Mortal Kombat,
and that's not just any Mortal Kombat. That's every Mortal Kombat. That's all of the Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as like in depth as we could have gotten with all the crazy.
We would be here for 12 hours if I had to spend a week of my life learning every little bit of what lore Mortal Kombat was.
Yeah.
We would have spent 12 hours on this podcast, and both of us would be tired and cranky.
There are like two super fans that would listen to the whole 12 hours, I guarantee, and be like, well, it was pretty good, but...
And they're the ones that are shaking they're the ones that are going to leave the comments.
I hope so. I enjoy comments, even if they're like terrible comments.
Seriously, if you have bad comments, please, God, leave them.
Yeah, I like it. Any kind of comment, and spell comment with a K, please.
Oh my God, yeah. If you don't subplant every C with a K, you failed.
Which is the dumbest thing that they... Like... What purpose does it serve to spell with a K?
It looked cool.
Yeah,
literally that was it. They were trying to figure out what name to call it.
It was 1992,
and they had a whiteboard that was a bunch of.
They were like, hey, we have Sonic the Hedgehog. He's edgy and cool. We have let's see what else is in 1992 of this era. We have
which stand by for us probably talking about Sonic the Hedgehog at some point.
I would love to.
That's
actually.
I'll take a trip to the Green Zone and shit like that.
The 90s were a very extreme era of like
so much Mountain Dew.
Who can out cool the other guy, and so spelling things with a K that was the obvious choice to make.
We're gonna stand out so good.
Yeah, it was fun though.
Absolutely.
Okay, I want to mention one more time.
Absolutely.
This Terrapin Hobsecutioner, which I have very much enjoyed.
It's been a good. It's a little bit heavier than I normally like.
Yeah,
but I like it.
Yeah, it's good. It made me feel, I guess, heroic.
It tests your might.
It tested my might. Yeah. I feel like I could break some bricks right now with my bare fists.
Stand by for Tink break. We'll have a video up later. No, we're not going to do that.
A video of me going to the hospital?
I am not going to let Tink break his hand on some bricks.
Yeah, thank you.
And I also want to go ahead and give another shout out to Addie's Bath Products. Again, it's essential luxury soaps, shower sprays, and bath salts, which if I was fighting in a Mortal Kombat tournament and I had somebody else's blood and spinal fluid all over me, I'd want a good soap to get myself cleaned up.
A nice hot bath.
A nice hot bath would probably be a good soak with some good natural essential oil bath salts would probably good. Absolutely.
Because you smell like entrails and blood.
Well, I'm going to go hit on Sonya Blade and Katana afterwards.
Of course.
So I'm definitely going to want to smell nice for that.
All right.
But yeah, again, contact them. They ship to all over the U.S. I bet if you ask them nicely, they'd be willing to do some like international shipping too.
Probably.
Tell them Stu sent you. I happen to know the lady who runs it pretty well.
It's like one Stu that she knows.
Oh yeah, there's one Stu that she'll know you're talking about.
Yeah.
Contact them at easebathproducts@gmail.com, or you can just go and like their page on Facebook, which is that easy.
All right, I've already liked it. And
that's awesome.
I'm planning on buying some as well because
I'm willing to bet that they'll send us some and you won't have to, but we'll see how that goes.
I'm just saying I really need to wash off the stench of gore and spinal fluid. So
hey, I think we're about to play some Mortal Kombat X. You want to play some Mortal Kombat X?
Please.
All right. Well, that means that we're signing off on this podcast. Again, thank you so much for listening to the ReBrew podcast. Let us know if you have any good ideas. Speaking of which, what are we going to talk about next week, Tink?
Next week? Oh, I'm so excited.
Dude, I've already started.
Next week is video. It's basically kids
TV game shows.
Can't all the old I guess Nickelodeon favorites and even more.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We're
gonna be digging back in. I've been looking at a lot of Nickelodeon stuff. I've found some other stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
I am so excited to talk about this. I'm ready to start the podcast now, but we'll wait a week. How's that sound?
Please.
I'll see you in a week. We'll do that.
It'll be fun.
Absolutely.
If you have an idea for like a topic or anything that would be interesting,
if you just want to tell us how much we suck or how much you like us,
please do. Go to our Facebook page. It's ReBrew Podcast at Facebook.
Absolutely. Or you can send us an email. It's therebrewpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
And we both have access. We'll check it often.
Yep.
We have nothing in there now.
Nothing. I think we have one that was Gmail welcoming us to
Gmail welcomed us to which
Gmail community.
I feel like we should have responded to that, but I'm pretty sure one
thanks,
of us
Gmail.
Yeah, thanks, Gmail. We appreciate it. Hope you're listening to our podcast.
If Gmail listened to us, that would be pretty good.
That would be pretty good. All right, guys. I've been Stu.
I've been Tink.
And thanks for listening to the ReBrew podcast.
Let's go test our might.
Absolutely.